I think it's highly important that we stop expecting perfection all the way around. We stop expecting perfection from ourselves, and we stop expecting it out of the people who we like to learn from or that we look up to, because nobody is perfect. Because perfect can mean one thing to one person and one thing to another. Welcome to the Energy Within podcast, helping you to embrace your weirdness, beat imposter syndrome, and fully step into your soul's purpose. My name is Carrie Jokala. I am your host. I am a Reiki master teacher, a fitness instructor, a wife, a mom to 2 little boys, and this is episode 175. And before we go too much further, let me just acknowledge the sound of my voice. I have some residual stuffiness, a little bit of congestion just stuck in my nose yet that is left over from being sick last week, and it's much better than it was. So hopefully we can look past that for today. Thank you to those of you who sent prayers and good energy and positive vibes and all that stuff to help me get to a point where I was cleared up enough that I could successfully sing at the Milwaukee Police Band concert this past Saturday. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I invite you to head on over to the Milwaukee Police Band Facebook page, and you'll see the live stream of the annual concert that we do. Also, because I ended up being a lot busier in these last few days since the last podcast than I expected that I would be, I have not fully made a decision at the time I'm recording this on whether or not I'll be doing the donation-based Reiki on Friday. So I'm leaning towards it. I just haven't figured it all out yet. So if you would like to know if that's going to run, please make sure that you are following me somehow, whether that's on my email list or inside the Energy Within Facebook group. If you're not in there and you need to join, please just make sure that you answer the questions. Or make sure you're following me on Instagram, or all three. So it looks like we're now expanding a little bit on past episodes. So today we're going to expand on the You Don't Always Need to Be Healing episode. Now this comes from what I see happening via social media and what some people have been talking about. And let's acknowledge, let's hope that what we're seeing people talk about necessarily on social media doesn't always mean that everybody is doing or thinking the way that social media is making it look. However, it can still be easy to think that if you see enough of the same kinds of posts or the same types of things going on, that, you know, maybe you should be thinking or doing that same thing too. And what I'm talking about specifically here is getting into this all or nothing mindset around our growth journey, whether it's a spiritual growth journey, a health journey, just any journey where you are working to improve yourself. What almost seems like it's happening is people are becoming almost obsessed with making sure that they get everything right. And not that that hasn't always been a thing. There's always been this idea of the all or nothing mindset. And a lot of us can beat ourselves up if we're not getting it perfect. And if we're not getting it perfect, then we just give up. Because why bother if it's not going to be perfect? But to stick with those 2 examples of the spiritual journey and the health journey, let's talk about the health journey first real quick. I don't know where this crunchy word came from, but whatever. This idea of being crunchy, being into all the natural wellness, natural healing. You'll find some of the bigger influencers, if they happen to share that they're eating something that would not be considered clean or non-toxic or healthy, or they're using a product that's not clean or non-toxic or healthy, they'll have people who jump on them for that, and they call them a fraud and tell, how dare you be teaching others about this because you're not perfect. I think it's highly important that we stop expecting perfection all the way around. We stop expecting perfection from ourselves, and we stop expecting it out of the people who we like to learn from or that we look up to, because nobody is perfect. Because perfect can mean one thing to one person and one thing to another. And specifically in that area of life, it is so hard to be 100% toxin free. The unfortunate reality is that it's unavoidable, so all you can do is your best. And we also need to remember that we need to enjoy life too, which happens to be a perfect segue into the spiritual all or nothing mindset. I saw one post recently where the woman was talking about essentially when people get all high and mighty on themselves because they've ascended to the 5D or they've raised their vibration so high, and then they start to come across as condescending, as rude, like they're looking down on all the little people who are not as evolved as they are, and they make a big deal of telling everybody how evolved they are. And again, not saying that I'm right, because I totally not intending to come across as that, whatever. I have no idea what dimension, what D I'm in. I hope I'm in the 5D, but who knows? How do you really know? But what I've come to realize, and especially tying it in just with a journey of becoming confident, where all of this started for me, is just looking to be more confident. The people who are truly confident, and on the same token, I believe the people who are truly as evolved as they would maybe have you think, don't need to tell you that they're confident or evolved or in a certain frequency or dimension. They just are. They just be. They just live their lives being themselves and allowing the light that's shining from within them through no effort of their own other than just being themselves. They allow that light to do the work for them, to do the speaking for them. If you think of someone who is truly confident, someone who you really look up to or just like being around, if you think about it, part of the reason you like being around them is because you feel comfortable around them. You don't feel like they're judging you. You don't feel like they think that they're better than you. It's because they are being fully themselves that you then feel comfortable being fully yourself in their presence. And it doesn't matter whether that person is consciously aware that that's the atmosphere that they're creating. It's totally fine if they're aware. It's beautiful if they're aware that that's the atmosphere they're creating. But the difference is whether or not they feel the need to tell you, to remind you, make sure you know that that's what they're doing. That's the difference. If we look at probably the most important thing that was said in my Reiki Master level classes, was that a Reiki Master knows that they know nothing. If you can truly start to look at, as ideally everything, but let's let go of the all or nothing mindset, as many things as possible from the stance that you know nothing, and then start learning about it, looking at it, understanding it from that point of view, that's what opens you up to being able to look at things from all sides and understand all sides. what was interesting is the woman who made this post, which I thought was actually very well written. It wasn't like a full-on calling people out type of thing. It was just explaining her thoughts on the whole 5D being better than 3D and telling everybody how evolved you are kind of thing. The next post I saw from her was pointing out that she had a lot of unfollows and a lot of blocks that happened after that post, which, again, pretty interesting. Not saying we can't block people who make us feel bothered or triggered or annoyed or whatever, but sometimes I think it can also be just as important to look at why do we feel the need? Why do we feel bothered by this? Then another friend of mine shared a video from TikTok. I'm not on TikTok, so I can't share it. Maybe I can share the link somehow. I'll see if I can share it into the group. But I saw it because she shared the link to her profile, and I was able to watch it through like the website app or something like that. And it was a longer video, but I thought it was really well done and explained this whole idea very well. But same thing on the spiritual growth journey, the mindset journey. It's taking a step back again. And he was talking about how we have these words to describe the higher self, our higher selves, and then the lower self, the human part of us who's here on earth. And then you visually can think about it like your higher self way up in heaven or wherever, and then our lower self here in the lower density on earth. But then because of those words higher or lower, it's easy to look at it like we need to always be our higher selves. We need to keep ascending and reach that higher self level because the lower self is bad. The lower self is where we're supposed to get out of. We need to ascend. We need to raise our vibration. And while I do agree, we want to ascend, we want to raise our vibration. Like I've said before, there's a reason that we are in these human bodies. We chose this for a reason, and it is to help our higher selves, our soul, grow and evolve. So it's part of the process. There's nothing wrong with us being the lower self, because I thought this was so perfect. The reality is, even while we are our lower selves, we are our higher selves at the same time. There's no way around it. It's just a matter of how much we remember and how much we acknowledge. And if we do remember and acknowledge, that should actually make us almost more humble. Because another thing, like I always keep saying, it's easier to help others to quote unquote wake up, to ascend by being ourselves and showing what is possible, because that's what inspires other people. It's not the preaching to, it's not yelling at, it's not telling other people that they're wrong or stupid or hey, wake up. Maybe some people wake up that way. Maybe that's how they're supposed to wake up. I don't know. But I really think the better way is to just be who you are, continue on your own journey, and be kind to people. Understand that the more you learn and the more you know, at the same time, the less you know. There's this push on escaping the matrix. And while I believe there are certain parts of the matrix that we really should try to escape, at the same time, again, it's all part of the process. It's all for a reason. So there's nothing wrong with being human. There's nothing wrong with just having fun. There's nothing wrong with enjoying something just for the sake of enjoying it. For example, I don't make any money singing with the police band. But it's something that I feel so actually honored to be a part of. And I think it's so cool to be a part of it that I enjoy doing this. And I enjoy singing. So it's a win-win all the way around. I still want to paint. I've found out how much I enjoy doing these how to draw videos on YouTube, where my kids have made me start doing the drawing for them, and then they color it in. I kind of wanted them to do the drawing too, but they really like picking it out and having me draw it, and then they tell me how awesome my drawing is, and then they color them in. There's no spiritual reason for that other than having fun. You can do things just for fun, and you also don't need to overanalyze anything either. You don't need to be all or nothing. You don't need to figure out what everything means. Like, part of me wants to be like, yeah, I should figure out what this cold means because I got sick at the beginning of last month too. But I'm not going to overanalyze it. I know that I probably just needed some rest, and I'll stay open to the possibility that there's a lesson here if I continue to get sick at the beginning of each month in the next coming months. But I'm, in the meantime, going to do my best to make sure that I'm keeping up healthy habits, and ideally, I won't get sick again at the start of next month. If I do, then maybe there's something that I need to figure out. But until then, I'm just going to get through this cold and get the congestion to go away and carry on. No pun intended. So be kind to yourself. Stop expecting perfection. Stop with this all or nothing. Stop over-analyzing everything, and stop letting yourself feel like it's not okay to just be human or to just enjoy life. We're not here as a punishment. We're not here as a test. I don't believe that. I've never believed that. And I believe it even less than not believing it at all, if it's possible to believe it less. It is a growth journey. We are here to grow and learn and ascend, but not in a being tested, being punished kind of way. So breathe, rest. It's gonna be okay. I hope that that made sense. I hope that that was helpful. I'll try to share the link to that one video in the Facebook group. And again, keep an eye out to find out if that donation-based Reiki is actually going to happen. If it's going to, it will be on Friday sometime in the evening. So make sure that you're, again, either on the email list, in the Facebook group, or following me on Instagram. Ideally, all three. And if you need to join the Facebook group, please make sure that you answer the questions. And that's where I'm going to leave it. Because I need to now run inside the theater that the concert was at and hope that the stage manager is here like she said she would be, because I left all of my dresses in the dressing room. I took all my other bags. I took the flowers that my dad got for me, and I left without my dresses. So I'm parked outside and about to go in. So let's hope that she's there so that I don't have to come back. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you next time.